liberals in Canada right now are losing their minds. Trudeau is refusing to work with Donald Trump on tariffs. Instead, he's trying to campaign on it, and Trump knows it. Trump called this out yesterday on Truth Social. Justin Trudeau of Canada called me to ask what could be done about tariffs. I told him that many people have died from fentanyl that came through the borders of Canada and Mexico, and nothing has convinced me that it's stopped. He said that's gotten better, and I said that's not good enough. The call ended in a somewhat friendly manner. He was unable to tell me what the Canadian election is, when it's taking place, which made me curious. Like, what's going on here? And then I realized he is using this issue to stay in power. Good luck, Justin, he said. Meanwhile, according to our next guest, there's a delegation from Alberta, Canada, going to D.C. right now, trying to ask Trump to make the province of Alberta the 51st state. And Chrystia Freeland is running to take over for Justin Trudeau in the Liberal Party. She wants to go to war with the United States, asking France to position nuclear weapons in Canada, aiming at the United States. Listen to this insanity.
The problem with most magnesium you buy, whether it's at a department store or online retailer, is that the magnesium is seriously
the U.S. is turning predator. And so what Canada needs to do is work closely with our democratic allies, our military allies. I've been foreign minister. I know how to do that. That's why I would start with our Nordic partners, specifically Denmark, which is also being threatened, and our European NATO allies. I would be sure that France and Britain were there, who possess nuclear weapons, and I would be working urgently with those partners to build a closer security relationship that guarantees our security in a time when the United States can be a
threat, a predator. In other words, get those nuclear weapons positioned aimed at the United States NATO partners, because it looks like the U.S. is about to ditch NATO. It's absolutely insane. David Creighton has been following all of this and trying to make sense of it out of Canada. David does an incredible job. Follow him on X, by the way. And so we'll get to your interview here in a second, David, which is stunning about Alberta. But first, positioning nuclear weapons with NATO partners in order to protect Canada from the United States predator? What is going on?
Well, I'd suggest, Clayton, that that's very presumptuous given what you reported earlier tonight. It looks like the UK might need all of their nuclear weapons if it's going to declare war in Russia, because
exactly.
Britain has no army. Britain has no air force or navy anymore. They are literally down to bare bones military. So, but for Chrystia Freeland, the former finance minister and Liberal candidate for the next leader of the party and potentially prime minister, to say this is insanity. We are living in a Bertolt Brecht play right now, and that's the only way I can describe it. It's theater of the absurd. Whether you're in Canada or you're in Europe, this is completely absurd activity. And I don't know why she would even say this in a leadership debate. But this is the kind of talk we're getting.
Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone and rule well. Peace and blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. Those in this gospel, bro, looking at the standard of Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. This is a lesson through the Spirit. I was watching this video from Redacted. Matter of fact, let me go back here. And it basically said, holy shit, Canada's crazy liberals are pushing for nuclear weapons aimed at America, which is actually prophetic and not surprising at this point, because Trump has been talking about succeeding from NATO for some time. And due to the tariffs that he's putting on Canada, Mexico, China, and Canada is a prominent ally of NATO, which stands for the National Atlantic Treaty Organization. What we're witnessing is the breakup of the 10 toes, man. Okay, it's going into the EU or the European Union. And then you got NATO and the EU, which NATO is the beast, and the 10 horns or the 10 kings represents the EU, which was the first 28 nations, right? Now, this whole trade war, which Trump's first presidency, that were trade wars, okay, and tariffs and hikes and taxes and so forth to tax the poor and to give tax cuts to the rich. It's the same playbook, man. We've been telling you that this guy Donald Trump was going to come in and do things that was going to be against the American people at their detriment, you know. But I was looking at a report earlier, and they mentioned that most people voted for DJ because, you know, they wanted to see the change in the economy. Okay, they wanted to see rent go down. They wanted to see gas prices go down. Well, and gas is still relatively fairly cheap for the most part. Not by that much, but, you know, it's pretty stable from what it's worth. But also, you know, the prices of foods, which they're talking about going up 2 to 3% on beef. The reason why people don't voted for Trump is because, you know, the American people, they just wanted to get their lives somewhat in manageable order, but they're not understanding that there's a bigger agenda at hand. And this is what this guy, David Creighton, is going into, how Canada is pretty much at odds with America, man, because Trump even stated, he said Canada should be the 51st state of America. And then you're changing landmarks and you're labeling the Gulf of Mexico, the Gulf of America, and threaten military intervention with certain countries, man. He said the shit is not off the table. Okay, so we're seeing a breakup of Esau's empire, which is prophetic, according to the scriptures. All right, so there was another video here about Saints in New Jersey. I haven't seen this video, but I kind of want to see it to get some information as to what's going on here. Okay, so let me see what it's talking about.
Because we going in for a ride, giving all the praise, honor, and glory.
It's the brother narrating.
And get ready for the ride. We getting out of here.
Hold on, man.
Prophecies is taking place. The MO.
Okay, so he was just basically narrating on it, which is a good thing. But overall, I thought it was like maybe of a news clip. But it says breaking news: Trump abandons NATO. So let's reference that real quick. Let's see what the deal is. Trump. Abandons NATO. Let me see what pops up under that umbrella. EU bracing for war as Macron big calls as Trump abandons Europe. Putin's goals are clear. Trump's considering major NATO policy shift. Trump says U.S. won't defend NATO allies behind on defense spending. It's common sense. And basically what Esau was doing, he's backing himself in a corner. Okay, because eventually once World War III pops off, he's not going to have anybody that's going to come to his aid, okay, because he's basically breaking and severing ties with all his European allies, man, which has been a long time coming, all right? And then you got Turkey, on the other hand, which eventually they want to go over to BRICS, and they've been trying to be part of the, the BRICS and succeed from NATO for some time because they don't agree with the policies that's being pushed forth through Western hegemonies either, you know? So anyway, let's go from here to the book of, real quick, this is Revelation 17, but let's get this in the book of Matthew 12, and I'm going to start at verses 24. Matter of fact, let's start at 25, and it says, when Yahweh Shai, matter of fact, let's go to the New Living Testament. And it says here, Yahweh Shai knew their thoughts and replied, any kingdom divided by civil war is doomed. And not only a civil war among the people, but among the world's powers, because the world's powers, they're not agreeing with major policies on the world stage. As America, they believe that they should put tariffs on particular European nations, and they feel like they've been taken advantage of, and they feel like they want to impose tariffs on other nations, man. But other nations are clapping back and saying, well, look, man, you don't own anything. You're nothing but consumers. You don't produce anything. You know, and everything that America wants produce is pretty much outsourced now. You know, like during the time of the 2008 crash, a lot of the jobs here in America was outsourced to not Afghanistan, but to India. Like, you know how you get those coolies that pick up the phone and, you know, you calling Sprint and you got a motherfucker picking up the phone, you know, from goddamn India or Punjab some fucking where. You know what I'm saying? So the American economy is done. You calling about a cell phone, you got a nigga, you know, I don't want to do the voice right now. I ain't really in the mood, but it's you will get a person on the other side of the line that don't speak English. You know what I'm saying? So this dude is really playing with he's playing with fire, man, because don't nobody respect America. They only respect you because the dollar is still relevant. But once the dollar is irrelevant, they gonna shoot missiles on your ass because, for one thing, they already know they can overtake you militarily. Okay, they know that you rather put your money into transgender research before actually putting your money on the defense. Even though they do put money in defense budgets or offense budgets, but you don't have it, bro. When you got 100+ countries that's gonna come up against you on different fronts of the world, it don't matter how prepared you are, you're not gonna be able to fend off all these nations at one time. Okay, America against the entire world, yo, right, you through. And that's what they're banking on. So you playing with fire, fucking with Justin Trudeau, man. All right, because they supply a certain percentage of energy to America, man. And if they cut it off, then rolling blackouts, high energy prices, as if energy isn't high enough, you know. But it says here, Yahushua knew their thoughts and replied, any kingdom divided by civil war is doomed, and a town or family splintered by feeling will fall apart. And if Satan is casting out Satan, he is divided and fighting himself against himself. His own kingdom will not survive. Okay, so this place is not going to survive, as they're talking about it redacted, because, like I said, Canada is a prominent member of NATO. All right, so let's go back to the video and listen to it a little bit more.
Homeowners in Colorado want cash for your house in the next 30 days.
Damn.
And I love that post on X from Donald Trump yesterday. In fact, I responded to it and I said, hey, maybe Donald Trump is reading my material, because I've been saying the same thing for 3 months, that Justin Trudeau wants a trade war. Justin
can we talk about this?
Wants to fight over tariffs because it helps Justin Trudeau and the Liberal Party.
Yeah, I mean, so you've been saying this for months, and that was the first place I heard it, and I thought it was very, very prescient of you. You're a soothsayer, David, saying that Trudeau doesn't want to run against Poilievre. You said this, I think, back, I don't know, it was December or so. You said Trudeau doesn't want to run against Poilievre because he'll lose. He wants to try to run against Trump to sort of rally his liberal base and get them all in a fervor. And then Trump called it out. So you got it 3 months ahead of time. So what is the goal here then? The goal is to build up the Liberal Party so that there's like a lot of blood in the water. They're angry at President Trump. I mean, it seems to be really working for Democrats in Washington, D.C. Maybe they should get some of those little signs they can hold up.
Well, that's precisely the game plan for the Liberal Party. Whether it's Justin Trudeau or whether it's Mark Carney, his very likely successor. And that leadership vote is Sunday, by the way, coming up very quickly. But both of them want to run against Donald Trump on a very fervent anti-United States stand. This has worked in the past for the Liberals. They used to actually be a very pro-American party. But from the era of Pierre Trudeau onwards, they have tended to use this anti-American bit in their election campaigns, because it does galvanize a certain degree of Canadians who are very resentful to some degree about America's success and who really tend to fall for this line.
It ain't about no success, man. It's just people are tired of the bullshit, you know? So going here, this is 2 weeks ago. That's pretty old. When you go here, it says Trump considering major NATO policy shift. Okay, which you go into these nations, the EU, NATO and the EU, in my opinion, it's the same shit. You know, they all Edomites to some degree. But it says President Donald Trump is considering a major change to the U.S. participation in the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, according to 3 current and former senior U.S. officials. One congressional official said, it says Trump has discussed with aides the possibility of calibrating America's NATO engagement in a way that will favor members of the alliance that spend a set percentage of their gross domestic product on defense, the official said, which, you know, it's not really a bad idea when you think about how volatile war is at this period of time, especially with the tensions heating up in Eurasia. It says, but as part of the potential policy shift, the U.S. might not defend a fellow NATO member that is attacked if the country doesn't meet the defense spending threshold, the official said. It says if Trump does make that change, it will mark a significant shift from a core tenet of the alliance known as Article 5, which says that an attack on any NATO country is an attack on all of them. But the president is similarly considering a policy change which in the U.S. may choose to prioritize military exercise of NATO members that are spending the set percentage of their GDP on defense, the official said. But it says his administration has already signaled to America's European allies that the U.S. could reduce its military presence in Europe. And one option now under the consideration is to reposition some U.S. troops in the region so that they are focused in or around NATO countries that have scaled their defense spending to meet the specific percentage of their GDPs, which is gross domestic product, the official said. Okay, so they're all divided when it comes to policies and what they want to spend money on. And America wants to be the big bully that taxes everybody, but tariffs are being put on America now, man. All right. Canada puts tariffs on, I think they took off like 100 American liquors off the shelves. Comes to alcohol, liquor, which that shit is going to go up, which in the time of crisis, alcohol is going to be like liquid gold, man, because everybody's going to want access to it. You know, so for all you brothers out there that like to drink, get your shit on, man. You probably want to get you some bottles under the wham before shit goes up, because shit is getting ready to increase big time. It says Canada announces robust tariff packages in response to unjustified U.S. tariffs, which a tariff is nothing more but a levy or tax. It says here, Canada will not stand as the United States imposes unwarranted and unreasonable tariffs on Canadian goods, which this is not a sense of them hating each other, but this is to fuck over the people. Now, there is division among Esau's kingdom, as there have always been. Even during the time of the Romans, they were divided. But overall, this is going to come down to the consumer, because we the jackasses that spend all the money. Well, I say y'all the jackasses that spend all your hard-earned wealth on shit that don't even matter. And that includes us by default, because we have to live in this society, man. But it says here, today, the Honorable Dominic LeBlanc, Minister of Finance and Intergovernmental Affairs, and the Honorable Melanie Joly, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, announced that in response to unjustified U.S. tariffs, the government of Canada is moving forward with a 25% tariff on $155 billion worth of imported goods, beginning immediately with the list of goods worth $30 billion. Wow. It says the scope of the Canadian counter tariffs will be increased to $155 billion if the current U.S. tariffs are maintained. Okay, so I read something that Trump is holding off the tariffs to like April 2nd. At first, they were supposed to go in effect March 9th and March 10th. And then I believe on Canada and maybe Mexico, if I'm not mistaken, it may be April the 2nd, but who knows? It changes daily, you know. But here it is. Live poultry that says fowls of species, geese, turkeys, tariff items. Live poultry, what else here? Meat and edible. I don't really, I mean, I kind of get this. I guess this is what they're putting tariffs on and shit. You know what I'm saying? But this is a list of the goods, whatever, list of products from the United States subject to 25% tariffs effective March 4th, which was earlier this week. But regardless of it, we can see that Esau's kingdom is divided, and that will lead out to them abandoning the whore. All right? So this is the book of Jeremiah 50, and I'm going to start at verses 9. And it says, for lo, I will rise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country. Okay, you got Russia, all right, the likers of their allies, even America's allies. An assembly of great nations from the north, and they should set themselves in array against her. From thence she should be taken. Their arrows should be as a mighty excrement, and none should return in vain. The arrows goes into the missiles. It says, in Chaldea should be a spoil, and all that spoil her should be satisfied, says the Lord. Because you were glad, because you will rejoice, and you destroyed my heritage, and because you have grown fat as a heifer at grass, and below as bellow as bulls, because they've gotten rich off slavery, mainly chattel slavery, okay, trafficking. And it says your mother should be sore confounded, which, you know, we break that as Great Britain, because we know that America has succeeded from Great Britain and got its so-called independence, right? But it says your mother should be sore confounded, and she that bare you shall be ashamed. But behold, the hindermost of the nations shall be a wilderness and a dry land and a desert. Because of the wrath of Yahweh, it should not be inhabited, but it should be wholly desolate. And everyone that goeth by Babylon should be astonished and hissed at our plagues. All right. So that's talking about when the missiles hit, because this place is going to be the biggest desert on the planet Earth. And it reads, put yourself in array against Babylon round about, and all ye that bend the bow, and shoot at her, and spare no arrows, for she hath sinned against Yahweh. So shout against her round about. She hath given her hands, her foundations are fallen, her walls are thrown down, for it is the vengeance of the Lord. Take vengeance on her, as she hath done unto her. So cut off the sword from Babylon, and him that handled the sickle in the time of the harvest. For fear of the oppressing sword, they should turn everyone to his people, and they should flee everyone to his own land, man. Okay? And we're going to see that when these nations start to resort back to their own kind. You see? So this place is finished. There's no bouncing back like it tells us that we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Therefore, let us all go forsake her and go into our own domain, so to speak. All right? This is the book of Daniel 2. And I'm going to start at verses 40. And it says, in the fourth kingdom, which is this Roman Empire, the modern Roman Empire, should be strong as iron. For as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things, and as iron breaketh all these, should it break in pieces and bruise. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom should be divided, and there should be in it the strength of iron. For as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay. So you're going to have part strong economies, part weaker economies, man. And we're seeing the kingdom divided, okay, because they can't come to agreements on tariffs, on who's going to front the bill, on who's going to be the big man on the block, and ultimately pushing the judgment or the hell on the people. All right. So, yeah, man, hey, it's getting ready to go down, Lord's will. You know, and I pray that Trump really goes through with these tariffs, because eventually in return, that's going to cause mass inflation here in the West. Like we read yesterday, 2 to 3% increase on beef. You know, fish, like a pound of salmon. I mean, like I think like a half a pound or a pound of salmon, half a pound or whatever. I think it was going for like, well, salmon is pretty expensive. But I was looking at a video yesterday, and it said something about like salmon going for $9.99, maybe for a half a pound or something like that. And that can easily go up to $13, $14 a pound or a half a pound, unless the retailers basically absorb the cost, meaning that they'll take the hit to continue to sell it at a cheaper rate, which these fucking stores and corporations can afford it, man. They could take the hit. All right, it ain't nothing for them to sell beef for $2-3.99 a pound. They can sell chicken wings for cheaper, but they just choose not to because they know people are gonna buy it anyway. You know, so this is a wicked, oppressive society, and we're seeing it decline rapidly. All right. Revelation 17, and I'm going to start at verses 16. It says, and the 10 horns which thou saw upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Yeah. And that fire is talking about them shooting the missiles here. And right now we're seeing these nations, these European nations, hate the whore. Because this guy, what's his name, J.D. Vance, the vice president, he went over there and he cussed their ass out, man. You know, was totally going against their policies, and he was making it seem like he was against their plan for globalism, which they're all in bed with one another, but they have to create division among the people. But they was looking at this dude like, the fuck are you, nigga, are you stupid? Like, you really think you can self-sustain yourself without our help, especially when the whole world hates you, and you got over military bases occupying over fucking 50, 60 countries, man? And you think people don't know that about that? Like, without your allies, you ain't nothing, you know. But it says, for the Most High have put in their hearts to fulfill His will and to agree and to give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of Yahweh should be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth, which is America, and she's reigning over the nations through military intervention and the dollar, okay, the U.S. currency. You go to certain countries, the U.S. dollar is still highly valued and highly regarded, okay? As they call America, the war machine. You know, she goes and she declares war. Trying to find something here. Zechariah. cursed nation, find my hand should spoil the servants, daughter of Babylon. Now I'm trying to find a precept that was kind of going into the one in Daniel. I can't recall where it's at in Zechariah, but give me 1 second. Because every prophet, and this may be it here, but every prophet to some degree, well, mainly every major prophet saw the destruction of Babylon. And even indirectly, you know, when you go into the fall of Nineveh, that's talking about spiritually America, man, because the Assyrians and, you know, Nineveh, America follows the same, they follow the same paradigm as these ancient kingdoms, man. You know, this is why we say that Babylon is all these kingdoms wrapped up into one. You see? So anyway, I'm going to end it giving all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Lord's will, you will edify. To the next lesson. Shalom.